Hi, everybody. Welcome to SNAX. You got a little
Yay.
friend on?
Yeah, that's my little
What's his
booski.
name?
I
Your
have a
little
name.
boo. Your quarantine boo. That's your
Uh,
quarantine boo.
he pre-quarantine, honey. He been holding strong for years. He's down for a girl, And that's all I got during the quarantine. You right, man.
Right? I know, right? Well, everybody, welcome to SNAX. Thank you for joining us today. Um, SNAX is a relationship podcast. We felt like conversations about relationships and dating were long overdue. We also like to include men in that conversation because we find that there's women talking amongst themselves and men talking amongst themselves, but they never really come together and have a discussion. So we like to do that here every once in a while. And today we have a special guest.
By
So we'll
we,
do that. Go ahead.
by we,
Oh,
we
yeah.
mean Courtney Black and Marion Brown.
Yes. And before we dig into it, we would like you to like, subscribe, and follow us on social media. We're on Facebook at SNAX Fans, Instagram, SNAX_LA, Twitter, SNAX_LA, YouTube, SNAX_LA. So we're everywhere. You
We
can find us
everywhere, saying.
out here. About it, out here.
Out
But
here.
yeah, so Courtney, what you snacking on today?
So
Did you bring a snack?
today, yeah, I have some. Y'all eat seaweed?
I've heard of it, but
The little,
I've heard of it.
The little
I haven't really. I don't really partake.
I love them. Oh, you don't? The only thing I'm so mad is because they had different types, and they come in different types, and I only like the original. They have teriyaki and some other stuff. And I was like looking at it forever and thought I could have sworn I got the original. And then I got home and I was tasting one. I was like, this tastes weird, different. And sure enough, it's teriyaki. It doesn't taste like teriyaki, so that's why I didn't know right away. But I'm so mad. I got the whole pack of like 20 of the joints in there, so I'm stuck.
Oh wow, you said I'm stuck. But well,
I gotta eat all of them. What you snacking on, Mir?
You know about those old school oatmeal pies? I don't know what's wrong with me and buying all these like throwback snacks. But you remember the little Debbie's ones with the cream in the middle and the oatmeal?
With the ice in the middle?
Yeah, right?
And last week you had Twinkies.
I know. This week it's the oatmeal pie, so that's what I'm snacking on today. And my beverage of choice. So,
you guys, I have a little delay.
Okay.
So I'm just letting the people know I got a little delay. So I don't know. Our thing is not going to be in sync the whole time. I don't know what's going on. Technical difficulties with a delay. And
just rock with her. Rock with her, roll with her.
Exactly. Thank you, boo.
You're welcome. We'll get through it. So without further ado, we are going to bring in our special guest. Let me bring her on in. Hey, Dr. Emily.
What's going on?
Hey,
Miriam and Courtney.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm great.
Hi, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, we're so happy to have you here. And for those who don't know, Emily and I have actually known each other since junior high school. Mm-hmm. And so I feel emotional as I talk about it because it's so interesting to see someone so much later in life and she's doing so well, so successful. And then, you know, we both have a respect for each other in our respective careers. So we really wanted to have a topic like this because the Ciara prayer, which is predominantly what we're going to be discussing, but also, you know, how that pertains to singles and dating and all that good stuff. But the Ciara prayer became really popular, and I don't know if it was actually a prayer, but it was more so like her stating her needs and asking God to send someone who fit what she would like in a man or what she felt she needed. So let me just give you a little background on Emily. Emily is a dating and relationship coach, researcher, author, speaker. I mean, she's doing it all. Mother, wife. Emily has a doctorate in philosophy.
So she got street cred. Street
cred for sure. And her doctorate of philosophy is in family studies. She also has a master's in psychology. So she knows what she's talking about. And that's why we wanted to bring her here, because we can speculate. We talk about what we talk about. But it's good to have an expert on hand, right? And also Emily she's driving a new discussion around sexual abstinence leading to marriage. We've heard about that with Megan Good and her husband, and Ciara. I don't know if Ciara and Russell went that route. I'm not sure, but it was something similar. They did. Okay. So Emily is encouraging modern women to choose, live, and love differently. So without further ado, Dr. Emily McKnight, please. You know what I really want the people to know is your backstory, because I think it's necessary to kind of talk about your life path and your path to finding love. So can you just kind of fill us in on that first?
Sure.
And how did you get to being a relationship therapist? I'm sorry, Emily. And I have a delay. And how to get to becoming a relationship therapist. So, expert.
Yes. Well, again, thanks for having me, guys. As Miriam mentioned, we've known each other forever. I'm from Los Angeles. I currently live in Dallas. But yeah, I was out there 20-something, like, what's happening? Out here, really. I was a single mother. And so, just being a young parent and a young professional, I just felt like I had to just be on point, so I had the car, I had the corporate job, I had, the money, kids looked like they were walking around models, stuff like that, just to compensate for that. Like, hey, no drama, no baby daddy drama over here. Like, we good. We doing good. I had several businesses, but it just wasn't lining up. I was meeting men. That wasn't an issue, but the quality or what I was looking for just wasn't there. And so I kind of went, I think I was in my late 20s, just information, every class, back then you had to sit at the hotel, like a Marriott somewhere for 3 days,
Do a seminar.
Exactly, a seminar, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night,
right.
Nothing like this. But what I thought was interesting is as I continued on with this, healthy relationship education, basically is what it was, the more or the longer I stayed in it and the more money I put in it, oftentimes I would be the only woman of color, or only Black woman for sure. It might be in a sprinkle of, and I'm like, wow, they in here getting this information. And these are wild techniques that they're talking about. Like, this is stuff that we just don't do. We don't treat our men like this. We don't talk to our men like this. Like, what? Say what? Okay. And how? Yes. And so it worked, really. And I am a woman of faith. I always has been, but they were working. So the quality of the men that I was dating was getting better, but still, not really hitting the mark. And then finally I just said, like, God, I'm tired of this. Like, what you want me to do? And
when he fed up.
Yes. And I remember one day in church, I was just like, God, come on now, and he was like, yeah, you're going to have to stop having sex, right? And I was like,
why?
Really? And I was like, shoot, this Sunday morning, I just left a good turn up. I was in there singing.
Hilarious.
And I was like, nah, God.
How long do you think you had been
Huh?
I was gonna say, how long do you think you had been applying the stuff you learned and your dating improved? How long had you been applying?
at least like a year and a half, you know, and like I said, it got better, but not like I had wanted it to. And so when God told me that, I was like, nah, you know, don't take that away. I'm good at it now, you know, been working on my squats. Like, don't do me like that. I really told him no. And
don't do me like that.
I did. That's how you talk to God. You know, we have to talk to God like that. Like, I just don't want to do that. You know, I'm a nice person. I don't lie. I don't cheat, you know, that type of thing or whatever. And he was like, yeah, if you want to get married, this is what you need to do. And so I finally said yes. I finally did it. And when I say the game changed, I mean, I would have flowers at my desk, 2 sets. Like, I don't even know who sent this.
Dang.
Secret admirer here, secret admirer there, gifts, you know, commitment. Like, you know, I want to settle down with you. I'm like, really? You know, I had.
And are you telling? I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Are you telling these guys you won't sleep with them, or are you like you're not sleeping with anybody right now?
So the thing is that I found a sweet spot on when to tell men this. So it's either when, and this is a really good plug-in, so thanks for asking me. It's either when sex naturally came up, or when they asked me for a commitment. And again, these men were asking like, nah, I'm trying to lock you in. Like, you're smart, you're a good mom, you know, like, what we gonna do? And then it'll be like, okay, well, before you decide that, here's what I have going on. And so that was a sweet spot, either those two. And I wouldn't deceive them. So if they brought up like, hey, I like threesomes, I like this, I like that, I'm like, that's interesting. So what you think about, you know, a little different, right? You know, if I didn't say anything and then bring it up later, that would be deception, you know? So that's where when it first comes up, it comes, you know, if it naturally comes up in conversation. But that was my sweet spot. That's what I
respond to that.
Some men would say, like, you know, that's cool. Like, most men would say that's admirable. I will honor that, you know, or I think that that's cool. There are some men who are straightforward, was like, nah, I'm a man, I have needs. That ain't gonna work for me. And you can just be like, okay, that's fine.
Right.
I'm just gonna put my finger up when I have something to say, since I have a delay. So that'd be my signal. Okay, so it must be an internal or your attitude change, because you said you practiced for a year, you were getting flowers and all of that. But some of those, by what you just said, I'm assuming you hadn't told them what your sexual thing was yet, and you were still getting all this good positive energy. So after God spoke to you. So in between, what do you think, if you haven't told the guy yet, what changed within you maybe that, you know, you're getting a different grade of men after that conversation with God and that commitment?
It was just, Courtney, it was the confidence. It was like, you can't tell me nothing. Like, I'm choosing. I'm making a choice. It's not about like, oh, are you going to choose me? Are you going to? Do you like me? It was just like, nah, let me see what this guy is about, you know? Because I know who I am now. Like, I'm closer to God. I was reading my Bible. Like, I was on one. I was like,
I love that.
I'm out here. I have a choice, you know, and that was the biggest difference. Before, I was still trying to prove myself, you know, and a lot of times I was trying to prove myself in the bedroom as well. Like, yes. And I got that too. I'm good at that. And I'm good at this. And I'm good at that. Like, you know, and it was like, wow. God was like, no, say that for your husband. And really, you know, take the blinders off, you know, look at it a different lens. Look at it as if, do you want to spend more time with this person? Do you want to commit to him? He cool and everything. He look good, but what else he got going on? You know, and then I had clarity in that to see it. You know, how many times we messed around, this fool is a loser, but on accident, you're great in bed. You know, I was going to say something inappropriate. I'm sorry.
Hey.
You can say it, girl. Well, I'm the bad mouth on here.
But I'm just saying, you know, like, but you weren't supposed to be with that person anyway. That's really all that was good in that relationship. And that's what, 2-3 years later, you like, dang, that could have ended, you know, at month 2, at month 3. So I think that was the biggest thing that changed, was really that confidence level. It felt like a superpower, honestly.
Here's one question I often wonder. When we talk about finding a Christian man, what does it mean, right? So, like, there are levels, right? You might have a man who believes in God, but he doesn't go to church. Or you have a man who goes to church, but he's not involved, and his life might look different. So, to me, it's like, okay, if they're a believer, meaning they believe in God and Christ, then they're good, right?
Right.
But in terms of that, like, how would you choose a man in terms of Christianity and determining whether he's a Christian or not?
Right. So at that point, I was getting more personal in the relationship. So like praying, reading my Bible, and basically obeying what he was telling me to do. Like that was a big one for me, right? And so I was looking for those same type of traits in men. It's just like, do you pray? Do you even talk to God? Like, or are you just out here just going to church and doing your own thing? And so I think that was kind of the biggest difference. And it's almost pointed to, I think Ciara actually had a real prayer. I brought it up on SNAX. Yeah, but that was like the first thing that she said was like, I want a man who fears God. And that's different. Like you can know of him, but are you afraid of him? You know what I mean? Like a healthy fear. Like, do you reverence?
Exactly. Like a respect.
Yeah. Exactly. And those are the things you want to look for. Just in their simple conversation. I listened to this sermon, or God spoke to me, or I felt led to do this, or the Holy Spirit said that. I mean, it's not, back in the day, honestly, that type of stuff used to freak me out. I was like, well, this is a little too churchy, whatever. But as I matured in my own faith, that's exactly what I was looking for. I was like, this is what I need, somebody who can hear him and who reverence him, just like you had said. Yep. Yeah. Courtney, you crack me up, bro.
I was gonna say a lot of people. People don't. You make a good point, because a lot of times people don't listen. I'm in school to what God is saying, or they think, oh, that's not God. Like, no, that's guidance. Like I pray for guidance all the time. God, guide me and let me follow your direction. But you'll get it, and you still not listening.
Girl, it's hard.
To a lot of people, like I tend to pray for God's will to be done, because I feel like I don't really know what I need, right? So if I were to pray to God for this type of man, is that really what I need? Is it going to happen? Probably not, because I don't really know what I need. So I like to pray for his will to be done. But then also, I've had moments of singleness for, let's say, a couple years or something, where have you talked to women who have been single for such a long time and they are just discouraged, and I know a lot of women like that who just are getting discouraged because they just cannot find a suitable partner, and it's rough out there.
I would say this, and this is new, right? And honestly, since I've been back off my dissertation, I've followers, I've lost, people on my email list, because I'm on one now. So y'all didn't invite me. I should have warned you, but I ain't even have time. Y'all might have changed your mind. But over the summer doing this research, so basically I did my whole dissertation on sexual abstinence, right? So I interviewed 10 couples who actually abstained from sex until marriage. Nothing's in the literature about it, like hardly nothing. Girl, I'm like, ain't nobody studying this? Like, this is crazy. But it represents our world. Like, you don't hear too many people really doing it, right? And so what I found is that with these 10 couples, it was like God was just matching them up. It's like they weren't out there searching. They were getting close to God and following his direction. What that looked like, dude might be in the Midwest praying, God tell him to move to LA.
Wow.
He thinking he going out there for music. He going out there to serve the church. Somebody tell her, like, hey, find a new church home. Oh, you see your homegirl or whatever? Invite you to church, go to church. Join a church. Oh, I'll meet you guys at the Wealth Conference at the church in LA. Like, just stuff like that. It was just every single couple had this like divine connection. It was not like, oh, I saw, on Bumble, whatever. It wasn't that type of stuff. You know what I mean? It was like, God told me to do this, I did it.
Right.
God told me to, reach out to this ex from, back in the day in college when I was at a funeral. I just wanted to make sure we was good, right? His prayer was
what happened to you, right?
Huh?
Your husband was an ex of yours, right?
Girl, text me out the blue on my birthday. It was like, I just want to be the first person to text you on your birthday. I'm like, where you come from? What you been doing? It's just God was working on us individually. Yes, God was really working on us individually. And I thought that was just us as a fluke. But I saw in every single research participant, it was just like, hey, God tell you to dissolve the business. God tell you to move, go. He tell you to take that job, take that gig, right? Do it. You just never know when he's going to align, and you just got to trust that he's doing the exact same thing. But that's why it's important to have that dude that actually listens to him and doing and being obedient as well. Right?
Right. Absolutely.
He'll hook us up. He does it for everything else in our lives. I don't know why it's so hard for us to trust in the love department,
Right.
I think it's just patience. I think we lack, I'm speaking for myself. I lack patience. And I think patience is huge. It's a virtue. That's what it is, right? So it's something that most people probably don't have, especially in this generation. Everything's so quick. It's instant gratification. That's what we're looking for all the time. So I think practicing patience is a part of trusting, right? If I know, because I feel like Ciara, if she knew that she could have gotten a Russell, there's no way she would have messed around with the future. Like and same goes for all of us. So as long as you're right, trust is a big component of it, but I think people lack patience, and that keeps them from trusting God and kind of staying on that path. Go ahead.
But I also, that's a good point, Mayor. And you just made me think it's also divine timing though. Everything, like even if she might have didn't mess with Future at that time, was Russell ready? You know what I mean? Like you said, it takes two to be on that journey and to be on the same page. And I have asked for God for something specific, honey, and he is, our God, like they say, is a funny God. You have to be really specific, because this has happened a couple of times in my lifetime that I've asked, like, name these things, and he'll give it to me, but the dude ain't got a foot. Are you missing something very important that you left out?
Right.
I was saying he'll give me everything on my list, but then that one main thing that I didn't think of, you know what I mean? He missing an eye, or something crazy.
She said missing an eye. Now let me tell you guys this though. I had this list that was like 26 or 27 things, right? And I put in my Bible. Yeah, 27. I remember emailing the guy that too. Like, this is what I'm doing. Yes, he was like, really? You gonna email me this list? I was like, yeah, I thought you might want to know. I used to do stupid stuff like that.
Things?
Right. And so I remember putting my little list in my Bible. And God, and I was like, I'm going to turn this over to you. Like you said, like, I want your will. And God was like, take that out. You got 5 things.
Right.
He said, pick 5 things on this list.
Oh, 5?
That's all you got.
Yeah. 5.
And I picked 5.
Well,
and
look,
that's what I roll with.
Oh, no. Courtney.
I found my list.
Since double-sided.
Since we were having Dr. Emily.
Yeah.
Well, this is something else that I just added. It was something I read, the list, man. But because it's from 2008, but I saved it and I said, well, Dr. Emily's coming on here. Huh? What'd you say, Mary?
You got mad. He was like, nah, he didn't answer that.
No, because it's been folded for years. It's been folded, and I haven't messed with it. It's from 2008, And it's funny, the last time I found it, I was like, oh my God, I forgot about this. And I was dating someone, and honey, he was like everything on this list, but he was still a fuck boy. Okay. So you're right.
Yeah. So, you can have, well, I narrowed my list down to 4 core things, basically my deal breakers. So I have 4 things that I can immediately process in my head. It'd be this, if not out. So it saves a lot of time. Yeah. So the list serves several purposes to me. Like for me now, it's like a time saver because I don't waste my time on someone who doesn't have one of my major 4. Like if you don't have those 4, you're out. And let's
test it though. Live test. What's on your 4?
Oh my gosh. Okay. So God might be like, yeah. He has to have money. Now, the thing is, if I want to be able to stay home with my children,
she said that's number 1 now.
So he has to be able to provide an environment for that, right? Like he has to be able to sustain the family with one income, right? So that's my reasoning behind that one. Number 2, he has to be a Christian. Number 3, he has to want.
But that's a deal breaker.
These are deal breakers. So if he doesn't have a lot of money, out. If he's not a Christian, out. If he doesn't want to get married, out. I don't care if I think he might later on agree to it just because I want to know. I want somebody who wants to be married. Mm-hmm. And then the last one was I have to be attracted to him. We have to be mutually attracted to each other. So those are reasonable, right?
Okay, so I would say, look, I didn't set my girl up. I would take out, and I do.
Come on, doctor.
I know. I do tell my clients that it's 2 things that you cannot have on your top 5 list. They can be in your wants, but not your top 5. Okay. And it has to do with finances and looks.
I was gonna say money.
Yep.
All about character. Is that what it is?
Character. You gotta. So I will give you an example of what my top 5 look like and what that income looked like. So it had to be God-fearing, or a man after God's own heart. I'm with you. He had to want marriage. That's big. I'm not here to try to convince you to marry me, right? Or even want to get married, period. That's not what I'm trying to do. So he had to want to get married. He had to want more children. I had 2 girls by this time, y'all. I had 2 kids. And so I want a son. I just wanted a son. And so I was like, I want more kids. It was like, really? I was like, yes, I do. So you had to want more kids and then also value education. That was a little different, but I did have men who did not value where I was going. So that was important. And then also, I always forget the last one. Had to respect my abstinence journey because that was clear of what God wanted me to do.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Fast forward. So nothing on there about looks, nothing's on there about income. And so by this time, when I do meet or when I do reunite with Devin, he wasn't in my wants income requirement. Right. He's in the South. I'm in LA. I'm like, all right, cost of living, but that still ain't, running my little calculations. I'm like, that ain't, I don't know.
Right.
And so I said, you know what? I promised God that I will stick to this 5 years. Right. But what was important to me and what helped me is he was like, this is the smartest cat that you probably know ever. Right. So don't sleep on that. Okay. So you sitting up here toiling, talking about what he only make what? But you don't understand what this dude be talking about when he be talking. You be sitting up here Googling some words, right? Wow. So why are you sitting up here tripping about how much he makes? And it's funny because as soon as he got to LA, so mind you, I didn't X him out. Of course, I dated him, courted him. He was everything on my top 5. As soon as he got to LA, he almost tripled that salary from when he was coming from Arkansas.
Wow.
But had I had it on my list and would have been acting a fool, I would have missed it. Right? So I say, like, nah, take that out. You just don't know. You know what I mean? You don't know how God is going to bless them. You don't know what it's going to look like. Really focus more on the character. Do they have a plan, what they want to do? I also had another client. She makes about what, like 300, something like that. She was like, girl, why? If he want to stay at home and take care of your babies, let that man stay at home. Like, you good. Y'all good, right?
Right.
Why is that even on your list? God has blessed you, you know.
Right.
This is W-2. This ain't even no hustle. This W-2 income. You know.
Okay. Hello.
You get this every 2 weeks. Like, no.
Adjustable income.
Yes. I was like, take it out. Yeah, they're married and he is a stay-at-home dad. I would love my husband to be a stay-at-home dad.
Really?
Yeah.
I want to be home with my babies. He could
go. But after COVID.
That's the thing. I'm not very career oriented either. So it would have to be, I feel like as long as you two understand that about each other, like, no, I'm very family oriented. I'm not trying to climb a ladder at a corporate job or anything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm taking care of myself and I'm doing well, but that's not what I want. That's not happiness to me or success.
Mm-hmm.
Success to me looks more like a family type situation that I'm happy with. That's more what success looks like to me.
Yep. But still, let God handle that part.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Okay. I mean, that means I have to think of another two. So one to replace. But you said the attractiveness thing too. But that's not really about looks. It's just saying that I want us to be mutually attracted to each other, right?
If you got somebody who love God and who love you like crazy, love your baby,
you're going to
smart, you know what I mean? You are going to be attracted to him.
Yeah, that's true.
It's going to come. It's going to come. So I still put that in the wants category. Now, some things that I would have as a non-negotiable was, somebody who didn't want marriage. I know it seems redundant, but you almost have to have the back and forth. Exactly.
Yeah.
Or somebody emotionally available, that type of thing. So you have some non-negotiables. If he wasn't okay with abstinence, and I know that that's something that God called me to do, it was a non-negotiable. I had to be out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you feel about, do you go through these types of exercises with your clients? Like I saw on your website that you have programs that you kind of take women through who are ready for marriage and want to be prepared when they meet that someone. Is that's an exercise you go through? And then also I do want to talk about like shacking up, because I have mixed thoughts on that, but I want to hear what you have to say about that as well.
Yeah, so the top 5 exercise is something that clients and I have gone through, probably one of the first things. And then now this year is kind of like, hey, what is God telling you? Do it. I had to stop.
I need to decrease my list.
I know, girl. But we worked through that. But some of the things that God was telling me, but to prepare me to be a wife to Devin, which is my husband, was like, hey, get the baby doll out the car, carpool lane. I'll drop my daughter off and put the baby doll in. Like, hey, we rolling. Like,
right.
Man, we get to work. Like, no. And he's like, no, you can't do that. I'm
Stop being janky.
Exactly. Stuff like that. And little did I know I was going to marry like straight up Jesus's brother. Like if he had a Snicker in the cart at the grocery store, he's like, oh, I left this Snicker. Let me go back in. And I'm like, I would have been eating that Snicker up. I was like, praise Jesus. A little dessert, a little treat.
A little treat. Jesus did this to me.
He will go back. When I say this is a man of integrity, like he just turned down a job, just the other day was like, I'm not feeling that. I feel it. It's just, his discernment is on one, but he's always like that. Like he doesn't care. It has to be honesty, whether it's brutal or not. He don't like no white lies, like none of that. And so I had to practice really. You know, I can't hide Amazon boxes. You know what I mean? Like some of the wives that I know, like, nah, it's just like, hey, don't even check that credit card. I done got like, you know what I mean? Like, sorry, excuse me. You know, it just has to be like that, you know, because he was preparing me for who I was going to marry. And so that didn't make sense. So here I am complaining, like, God, come on, send my husband, and you're telling me to do these, you know, weird things. He was preparing me that whole time.
What kind of weird things? I want to hear about
that. So I told you about that. 2-drink maximum. So I didn't say, look, me and Miriam didn't see each other at the club. I'm like, hey, girl, you know, like, you okay? I think that's probably the last time we saw each other, a good decade or something ago. And so that was something that he told me. He was like, you're going to have to, like, you just can't be out here like that. My husband does not drink like that. And he comes from, you know, family of women who might have abused, you know what I mean? That type of thing. He just doesn't like it. And so it's not a preference, but it is when I go out with my girlfriends, he can trust that we're not just stumbling back home in the house, you know, or that type of thing, or he doesn't have to be concerned about me. You know, so those are just kind of practices that just really set us up nicely. So now that we're married, it's not an issue. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So those just seem so weird to me, but they all just make sense. You know, it just all makes sense to me.
So checking up so the reason why I ask is because I feel like I've only lived with one man in my lifetime. And I always said I would never live with a guy until I had to, which was marriage, right? Yeah. But then I ended up doing it, and I'm kind of glad that I did, because then I wouldn't have seen him for who he really was. Because people they can put on an act for a while. And then but until you live with someone, you really don't know. And you don't even know someone when you live with them, to be honest. Like, you'll never really know everything about someone. But I feel like had I not, I would have been duped. I could have ended up married to someone and I just would have felt trapped. And what are your thoughts on living with someone before you get married?
So this is where my researcher hat comes on. I did have couples in the study who actually lived together, but were abstaining. And there was no differences in their scenarios in what they built in terms of commitment and trust and communication. And so I'm working with a scholar right now who does like sexual timing or whatever, or these relationship transitions, like when you live together, when you have sex, like if it's too fast, basically, you know, that could be negative on the back end. You know, if you jump into these scenarios, like if you have sex on the first date or have sex fast or move in fast without really saying like, oh, I'm moving in because we want to get married type of thing, or have sex to get married. But anyway, I say all that to say, I feel like, but I don't have the evidence, but I feel like what's more important is to save the sex. Because when people have saved the sex, whether or not they live together or not, you are talking so much about everything. You can find out what you need to find out.
That's true.
And you can do that at a restaurant. You can do that at the park. You can do, you know, it doesn't have to be laid up, you know, for months.
We'll talk, right?
It doesn't have to be that way. Right. You know, you can have those conversations, you know, in a Starbucks for 3 or 4 hours. You know what I mean? That type of thing. So that is my inclination. And those are the type of questions that I do want to answer empirically in the future. Like, is there a hierarchy, you know? But that's just an inclination.
Yes, Courtney.
So as we talk about abstinence, let's get into the fine lines of abstinence. Because, you know, I tend to think that it means not having sex, but people are doing everything else. I think Megan and her man, I can't believe that they weren't doing everything else. And we mean, you know, cunningless or whatever and all that other little stuff that you would do. It's not
using the proper term.
Sexual intercourse. Right. Cunnilingus. Everything that is not sexual intercourse. Does it mean that, or does it mean no? Don't even what does it mean?
That's a good question.
That's exactly what I was trying to find out with my dissertation. And so everybody defined it as no vaginal intercourse. Basically, no vaginal or anal intercourse.
Okay.
Gotcha.
These are 10 couples, right? But the allowable behaviors, like where you drew the line, range from we not kissing to
not kissing.
Yes, some people not kiss, all the way to like all the way to partner assisted masturbation and oral sex. So it was a range.
Okay. Not right.
You don't have to do that. I can do that.
It was a range. And so that's like another thing that I'm like, I'm never gonna stop researching this because it's just it's so juicy. I'm like, what? What? You know?
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
I just can't imagine not kissing my partner.
Yeah.
Until
I gotta know that you can kiss. Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
that is kind of like, I mean, I don't know.
But it's funny, like so in to tell my own personal story, we went out the gate with oral sex, basically. Like first weekend in LA, it was just like, okay, well, we made it to third base. Good. I was all happy. Like, yeah, I did not have sex. And my homegirl, right, who is not down for abstinence at all. She was like, but you did what to him? And then I was like, yeah, we didn't have sex. You know, like, no, we just made out. She was like, girl, I was like, no, but we did not define it as that. And I'm going to tell you, God told us on the exact same day, in 2 different cities. He was in Arkansas. I was in LA. Like, if y'all don't stop y'all little sessions, is what we coined it. Y'all not gonna make it. Like he had to tell us on the same day.
Wow.
We knew it
was too spicy. It was getting too spicy.
I just left from Arkansas feeling good. I was happy. It was getting too spicy. But yeah, like I remember waking up out of my sleep was like, wow, we're gonna have to stop these or we're not gonna make it. And then the phone rang and I'm like, what's up? Where you at? He was like, yeah, I'm at Barnes & Noble. I'm about to try to find us a devotional or something. Because God told me if we don't stop this.
Dang, that's crazy.
Wow.
It was just so spooky. So the next time we saw each other, we tried not to kiss. And it was so whack. But the weekend was like, it was whack, but the weekend was perfect. Like it was Grammy weekend in LA. I don't know why. I guess I didn't even know that it was that, but we were getting into restaurants that we didn't have reservations for. We would see that person, this person. It was just like the smoothest weekend we ever had, but we still was like, nah, we still can't do it. We got to kiss. We got to do something.
I know, right?
Yeah, it was the smoothest weekend.
What was your new line? So you guys, that was the new rule, not even nothing and nothing past that?
Oh, nah. So we started kissing. We would kiss. We would, cuddle and stuff like that. But we definitely would not expose each other. Because we knew I would black out. I was straight black out. So it was just like, we had to, so yeah, we did. I would black out. And so, to prevent a blackout, we will kiss. And if it got too heavy, we were like, nah, but we'll try not to touch each other. And by that time we would like, hey, you cannot wear them gray sweatpants. Don't wear them gray sweatpants.
Right.
Or I remember I had this like really cute top for his birthday, girl. He was like, no, you cannot wear that. Like, you need to have this sweatshirt on. Here you go. And I was like, sitting in Javier's, like, this big old sweatshirt on. Like, yeah, you the best of my whole outfit. But he was like, nah, titties all out. I can't even. Yeah, so,
We concentrate. Yeah, you got it.
But by that time, we were in love. And we just wanted to do what God wanted us to do. Yeah, we really wanted it to work. And so that's where that reverence went. Like, we don't want to mess this up.
Yeah.
And if God is telling us stuff like on the exact same day, just stuff like that, we know it was a bigger purpose. And look, it's almost next year will be 10 years from when we started dating again. And this is crazy that I'm studying this, that I coach women through this. You know what I mean? So I know that it was really all about his plan. Like, what if I said no? You know,
yeah.
said no. It's like 21 women. I think I'm on number 21 of women that say that they've got married because of some form of coaching that I have done for them. That's since amazing. 2017. Wow. Yeah, and I'm like, I'm not even all that big, you know. It's just, if I could show up at every woman's darn wedding, I'll be so darn happy, turned up on that dance floor, you know, because it's just like, I can help you with this. Like, nothing that you can come to me and tell me I have not done. I've had my hot girl summers when it was hot girl summers, you know, like all of that.
Right.
You know, it's no judgment, because like, I'm not holier than thou. I'm not coming to a place of, you know, this is better than anybody else. Like, no, but if I could do this, you can do it too. And it's just so many great benefits from it. So
you do one-on-one counseling, or what do you do?
Yes, I do private coaching. Yeah, I do private coaching. I'm looking maybe into group, but right now it's that personal one-on-one, you know. And my favorite clients are just people who are ready, who are just like, I want to do something different. I don't, you know, I'm willing to invest in whatever, you know what I mean? Those type of people.
And me.
And
would you get into matchmaking at all? Because there's not enough matchmakers for Black people, especially, but then also Christian. Like, I feel it's very difficult for Christians to meet each other, and I feel like churches aren't really setting up scenarios where other like-minded people can get together and meet and date and marry. You know what I mean? So,
no,
what are your thoughts on that?
I'm looking into developing an app. I just had a meeting earlier today, but that matchmaking might work out. But right now it's just more so teaching them, like, as you meet men, let's vet them out. You know, what does this look like? How does he match up to your top 5? No, you need to call him back. You went about that wrong. Look, he didn't make enough money for you. You need to take him out for coffee, because that should have been back on your. See, I would tell you, Miriam, like, no, back on your. Now you got to take him out for coffee. Now you got to spend $15. You got to have a coffee and a pastry, because you were supposed to take that off your list.
Wait. In my defense, did I not date a guy who wasn't making a lot of money? I gave him a shot, and I just felt like, because I have an old soul, Emily, like I have a very old soul, so I tend to date older men. And this guy was younger, like didn't look anything like a guy that I would normally date. And I gave him a shot, and it was just like a bust. And I felt like, no, Mary, you need to stick to your standards, you know, but like you said, it's just kind of like,
he was a bust, you know, for you, right? He wasn't a good fit for you. Right. But let's see what this other dude is about, or this next dude that you know, meet on set, or just whatever, you know. Yeah. And so that's what that looks like. That sister girl hand holding, text me, send me a voice note, you know, like I really, really enjoy that. If I can just, and then especially my engaged wives, like, look, let's get you ready. Girl, get your energy up. Okay. Because now it's time.
So how do you? I'm sorry. We in the pandemic, girls. It is hard as I don't know what to meet somebody now. You know, you got dating apps, but it's like maybe somebody in the grocery store. But other than that, I mean, how has your job gotten harder? And you got any tips for a sister? Because
people are, I mean, everybody's concerned right now. So since I've been back, that's everyone's concern. Like, how do we do this? How do we do this with masks? And that's where I lose a lot of people. It's just like, do what God tells you to do. Like, you gotta trust him. If you're supposed to meet somebody during this pandemic, you will meet him. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. So they're like, that's not helping me. I'm like, it really is the key. It really is the key. Even if it's like totally unrelated to dating, just do it. And just go to him, just like, you know, my heart, you know, I want to be married. And that's how I went to him back then. I was like, you know, I want a father for these kids. I want my son. I got my baby. That is my love.
So true.
My heart. And then I had that number 4 out of nowhere in Iowa, and you were part of nobody PhD plan. And it was for him. That's his baby. That's his little fishing buddy.
And he didn't have any kids, right?
He did not have any kids, no. Mm-mm. But that was his baby. That was for him. Yeah, that's his little country baby. Because, girl, she be out in the dirt road with her grandma. She be rolling. I'm like, you ain't got no LA on you, do you? Poor baby, she just be out there. Yeah, but it was for him.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what are some questions that you think women should ask a guy before getting married? Are there any really important questions that should be asked?
I say, if you get to the point where you really like somebody and you want to spend time, don't be afraid to talk about the marriage that you want, right? So if you want to be a stay-at-home mom, say you want to be a stay-at-home mom, and ask him, like, how do you feel about that? You know, or if he says, like, yeah, you know, I just want to travel the world, find out, like, what does that mean? What does that look like? So every month, every 6 months, or you just want to live in these pods, you know, like, just be really interested in what these guys are talking about. But in the back of your mind, you're like, this ain't
red flag.
But it's just like, it's the disposition. Just go about it, like, just learn men. And I think that was probably one of the biggest things that helped, like, with my confidence. Like, they was like, wow, you're amazing, you're great. And I was like, yeah, you're amazing and you're great too. We're just not a good fit. So just ask.
You put it on like that.
That's okay.
Yep, and it's okay.
Yeah.
Give me a
I've
hug.
done that.
Yeah. Bye. And I will see them.
I find that hard to do.
I'll see them later. And I'm like, hey, and I would tell him, I was like, oh my God, she's gorgeous. He was like, thank you. All that.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just, you make a choice. You have to make a sound decision in marriage. Like, we all say we want to get married, but marriage is like forever. You want to be with somebody that you like, who like you, who is just a genuine good person and looks out for you. And that takes time to get to know. But take that sex out, you'll know everything that you need to. I mean,
okay.
So you feel that eliminating sex early on is a way of gaining clarity. It's not just about abstaining. Because I think a lot of women are like, oh, they do it for the wrong reasons. They're not really reaping the benefits of doing that for clarity. It's not like some sort of punishment. Like, oh, I dated all these men, I got hurt, so I'm not having sex with anybody else. But it's just more about gaining clarity.
It is the communication, the commitment, the trust, to getting to know each other. What are some of the other benefits? These are all qualities and relationship processes that are good for long-term happy marriage, right? Communication, trust, friendship. These people were friends. Y'all see, you may not be able to see my wedding picture. We straight got that side pose. Like, we did that. Okay. We have to lean on our friendship. You know what I mean? We have to lean on laughter.
That's huge.
Yeah, because marriage is not easy. In-laws, sick. You know what I mean? Moving.
Life is hard.
This pandemic, girl. So just make the good choice now, and you can get to learn so much and be so clear and hear from God. And some of these stories, my story is just raggedy, but some of these stories where compared to this beauty, like this one couple I'm thinking of, they were friends for a long time, just mutual platonic friends. And then the guys start getting these prophetic words from people like, hey, you know, that friendship is going to shift. And then all of a sudden he started seeing her in a different light. Like,
wow.
when you start feeling like that, when you start looking like that, when you start walking like that, like they have been homies. When I tell you, like for a long time, for like 2 years, not attracted to each other. He got these prophetic words. She hadn't received it. So he tells her, and she was like, yeah, right. Like, what are you talking about? He was like, no, I'm telling you, I heard this XYZ. So she goes home and she's like, God, this is silly. Like, this is my boy. Like, my big brother, you know, just whatever. She was like, God, if this is true, you're gonna have to give me a sign. And I'm gonna have to know it's you. Girl, she went home and dreamt about their wedding and their children.
No way.
The same.
Wow.
When I interviewed them, they don't even have children, but she knows what her children looks like.
Dang.
From that night.
Wow.
Those are these
awesome.
are the stories that I'm hearing. And we
You're
tripping
giving
about
me hope.
pandemic. Yeah. God does it better. He just does everything better. I don't know why we don't trust him more, because he loves us so much to yeah, he loves us, like all of us, even the men, you know what I mean? Like he was preparing them husbands. When I tell you, preparing them.
Wow. This has been so amazing. Yeah. I could literally talk to you for hours, but we don't have hours, unfortunately.
Well, I hope you found that helpful. I'm sorry.
I did, and I hope that
so much
hackers found it helpful too, because I know there are a lot of women out there struggling, and men. Like, I know a lot of men who's like, oh, I can't meet a good woman, and it's like, they're everywhere, but they probably say the same thing about us, and we're not.
They do.
So for whatever reason, we're just not meeting. But
and I would tell the same guy, and I tell men now too, like, you love God, you fear God, ask him. Tell him, prepare me for a husband. Send me my wife. Like, I'm ready. Go to him. Go to him and tell him. And you will walk up on her. She will call you out the blue. I got like 10 stories. And the men's stories are the best. So, so juicy. So good. It's just so good. Yeah.
Well, we really appreciate you being here and taking time out of your busy schedule to come and talk to us and our audience. And we love you, and hopefully we can have you back in the future, but best of luck with all your endeavors, and God bless you, and your child is just so beautiful. I just love seeing pictures of you guys, and so
thank you. Thank you. Courtney, stop having me laughing. You're so silly.
Yeah.
But thank you. This was a lot of fun, ladies.
Thank you. I want to thank you again for all that great knowledge you just spent. I don't know what your fees are, girl, but DM me your number, because I'm gonna have to see if I can put this in my my budget, because I need some help. So
yes. Well, anybody
look at my checkbook.
You are so silly. But I'm at Love Dr. M. So love.dr.m on Instagram. Take it from m.com.
And that's EM.
Yep, at EM. Yes. Or either lovedrm.com.
Man,
but yeah, yes.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And I would love to. That's my favorite thing to do. I'm here.
Wow.
I promise. That was my promise. Like, I don't want to get married and then just post cute pictures on Instagram. Like, I want to tell everybody about this.
And you want your relationship to actually be happy instead of just pretending like it's happy. Like, there's so many people who are just really pretending, and it's sad.
Yeah.
Like, you could have that. You could have the real.
Yep.
So,
well, I have said my prayer, so maybe you could tell me how to pray different. Thank you, and get her book, you guys. She got a book.
I've been on Don't Before I Do.
Yes.
By Emily McKnight.
The Don't Before I Do.
That's where you hear all the ratchetness, so you'll know. Tell me she ain't just faking.
I gotta read it.
Okay. But
thank you, Dr. Emily McKnight.
Yes, thank you. Thanks for having me, guys. And keep doing what you're doing. This is amazing.
Yay.
Thank you. And
come back.
Yes, please come back. Everybody like, subscribe, share with your friends. This was a great conversation that you're not going to get anywhere else for free.
Hey.
So anyway, good night.
Good night.
And we'll see you guys next week.
Bye. Thanks
Yay,
again.
life.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.